okay? He had spoken about the three levels of people. That people have profound intellect, and they have the ability to reflect and to absorb. That person, he says, will benefit from all the discussion here of what Yichud Hashem is. He says, Ach kata shniya, but he says the second group, Einu yodas sefer Torah Elokim. They're not familiar with the Torah itself. They're not learned. Koshkim Yichud Hashem. So definitely not to be able to understand what Yichud Hashem is. No. Person doesn't have any background. You know, years ago there was a certain person. He was learned in Baltimore. He was a genius, and so when he went to Hopkins, so he finished, graduated. So there's a college advisor who advises you, where you should go to graduate school. So he looked at he first met with his professors. Each professor says, I think this is what you should major and go do your graduate work in this subject, because he had a perfect score. But each professor didn't realize that each subject had a perfect score, 100 perfect score. And he was a tremendous mind in Torah also. And he went to Harvard Law, and he went there, he ran rings around the professors in terms of the intellect, the analytical ability. They present something, immediately he would ask a question, then he'd come up with an insight, and eventually became a law professor. And his expertise was bankruptcy law, this person. So where did he was trained. The training was learning the Torah. When you study in an advanced level and you present something, you don't see it just in one context. You can see it 4 or 5 different ways. The moment it's presented, immediately, based on your training, it doesn't have to be seen just necessarily one way. There are many other ways. Now you have to try to conclude what is the correct way to see it. Or maybe they both have validity. It's a combination of a number of ways. So that's what he's saying. A person who's adept, who's learned and studied, he could appreciate what Yichud Hashem is in all its facets, what he's presented here. Then you have the other person. Einu yodas sefer Torah Elokim. They're not learned. Koshkim hayichud. If they're not, they have no understanding of Torah. They can understand what Yichud Hashem is. They shomei shimo. They don't mivin inyono. They hear about it, and what? But they don't grasp what it is. Elam to'elas lo meis b'sefer zeklau. So when they study this work, they have no benefit, and they have what? But there's no downside. There's no upside. There's no downside. Torah Musar. Torah Peh means nothing. You know the stories. Chad Gadya, right? Lahavdil. Hakata Shlishis. What is the third group? Shemivinim hayichud Hashem b'sefer Torah Elokim k'tzas havona. They have some degree of understanding of the unity of God just from the Torah itself, from learning, background, upbringing. But to fully grasp what it is, the Yichud Hashem, to the degree that he discusses here, they have limited capability. But if they have somebody mentoring them, teaching them, by bringing various proofs for the Yichud Hashem, you're able to bring them to a level. On their own, they're not able to come upon it, because they don't have that type of mind. But with assistance and with tutoring and mentoring and so on and so forth, and with all the proofs, you can bring them to that level. And ultimately, the secret will be revealed. That they're even able to achieve what the first one is able to achieve. I'll give you an example. When it comes to spirituality, it's a known fact. Today, I don't know. At one time, when I went to yeshiva, there were many geniuses in yeshiva. People had minds that were phenomenal minds. Today, I don't see the same level of genius like existed at one time. Because their minds are, they're preoccupied with other things. But at one time, if you wanted to try to understand something, you didn't download it from on the computer. When you had your Shabbat Gadol Drasha there. You know, they had to work through it. They had to get up, pull the sefer off the shelf, sit and find and look for it, and they worked, they toiled on it. So their minds were different kinds of minds. So, but you know something? Many of those geniuses, although they understood it immediately, what do you think happened with most of them? Nothing. They turned out to be nothing. You know, he ended up being an accountant, a government job, Talmud Chacham, nothing special. But there were those who really applied themselves and spent endless hours learning, and they had to work to understand. To get it, they developed to be exceptional Talmidei Chachamim. And their minds became trained to be able to understand things which initially was beyond their capacity. So that's what he's talking about. There's another group. They don't have the phenomenal mind. They don't get it on their own. They don't grasp it immediately because they don't have that scope of mind or that breadth of mind, of intellect. They're able. But the others, they understand to a degree with limitation. But if they're mentored and they're taught and so on and so forth, ultimately they could achieve the level of the first group, which they get it immediately. But what about if they actually, they're not interested in delving? And they're laid back to analyze, to strengthen their recognition, and to sharpen their minds. They don't engage in the process of sharpening their minds. Ultimately, it's totally going to dissipate. They're going to fall to the level of what? Of the fools. It's at a foolish level. He says, and therefore that's the value. For the interim group, that's the value of my book. For those who have an interest in advancing their understanding, that's for them. Because it gives them the ability how to delve more deeply. It's the equivalent. The person needs certain kinds of eye drops to illuminate his eyes. With time, the healing process will rehabilitate the eye. To understand the same, this sefer is the equivalent of the medication. You're engaged in it long enough, little by little, your eyes will be opened wider and wider to fully get what it's about. Most people are the middle group, 99%. You know, they once say it's the Chazon Ish if he studies Musar. He studies Musar. He says there's some days he doesn't study Musar, but some days he studies 2-3 hours. Depends on what he feels, what his needs are. He studied the Chovos HaLevavos. That's the sefer he would study. He said sometimes he'd spend 2-3 hours spent studying the Chovos HaLevavos. Okay, so the Chazon Ish, because it's not enough to get it. You could get something, but as he said, to internalize it, that it should resonate with a person, is a tremendous degree of reflection that you need. So if a person, let's say, all day is distracted, we get it, but that it should resonate, you need more than getting it. So you really have to take out time to spend time really reflecting. So that's when you study the work itself. The person goes, everybody's busy. You have other things on your mind. So as much as you don't question it, but do you feel it? There was a person who's here once, we were once by Reb Steinman. And he said, he asked Reb Steinman, we study at the beginning of the day, but we go to work, and we have other things on our mind. We're busy with our businesses. So how do we get ourselves to be able to somehow to have the effect of the morning throughout the day? Right? That's a question somebody asked here. So Reb Steinman says, and who says you have to work so many long hours? That's what he said. There is no answer. There really is no answer. You can't do two things simultaneously. The Medrash tells us it says, Lo b'shamayim, lo me'ever layami. What's lo me'ever layami? Lo hoch layamim. You want to be a merchant, travel the high seas? You're not going to be a Talmud. You can't be the Talmud Chacham. You have to make a choice. You have to spend a significant amount of time studying. Otherwise, you want to be a rich merchant, you want to be a philanthropist, you'll be a philanthropist. Right? You'll be a Zvulun, but Yisachar you're not going to be. You have to take out time. It doesn't happen by itself. No, I understand. I'm just quoting the Midrash, what the Midrash says.
So